Peace and blessings, family. Grand Rising. Welcome to the channel. If you are new, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So, y'all, this video, I'm going to briefly discuss the spirit of infirmity. We're in the midst of a spiritual war right now. These are one of the enemy's tactics, one of the enemy's weapons, to cause affliction amongst the collective, amongst the people of God, okay, amongst God's chosen. And it serves one purpose: to stop you from fulfilling your mission, okay? So come on in, hit the like button as you come in. This information is not going to resonate for everyone. It may even be over some people's heads. And if that's the case, that's okay. It's just not for everybody, okay? But I'm going to dive in. I'm going to try to be as brief as I can, but you know, y'all know. So again, there is a spiritual war going on. There is a war uh in the spirit realm. Okay. Warfare is extremely high right now for people of God. And one of the enemy's tricks or tactics is the spirit of infirmity, which comes to afflict God's people. The spirit causes sicknesses, illnesses, dis-ease, paralysis. A lot of times, um, when you see people or when you yourself are dealing with things that are, the doctors can't explain what's wrong, there's no cure for it, they don't understand how to treat it, or they can treat the symptoms, but they can't really treat the root. A lot of times, that is the spirit of infirmity operating. Okay. When you see people who are constantly sick, it's always one thing after another, or like they've been sick a lot since they've been a kid. Maybe sickness has been spoken into and over their lives. And they can't seem to do much because they're always sick. They may seem to be, on disability or something at a young age. Things of that nature. Spirit of infirmity. Okay. And there is no one or two specific illnesses or conditions. It could be any condition. All right. It could be someone with an unexplained cough. They don't have a cold. They don't have the flu. They don't have COVID. They've been tested for all of these different things. All of the tests are normal. The lung function tests are normal. But yet and still they have this unexplained cough where sometimes they struggle to breathe. The spirit of affliction, right? And what I've noticed is these things will hit us, it hits you where you are most impactful, okay? So someone who is a prayer warrior, someone who heals through speaking, mentoring, coaching, etc., may have to deal with something like breathlessness, asthma, asthma that ain't really asthma, right? But asthma that seemingly comes out of nowhere. Why? Because now you can't talk. The spirit has attacked you in your lungs. We need air to breathe. We need air to speak. But if the spirit has attacked the body, the lungs, and you can't speak, now you can't carry out your purpose. You can't do your healing work. Does that make sense? These spirits come to steal, kill, and destroy. Um, and it's really to distract the people of God, okay, from their purpose and from their promise. All right. The enemy don't really mess with people who are not a threat to the plans of the enemy, okay? The enemy only messes with people who has something inside of them, people who are a threat, people who are put here for a very specific purpose. um, and so when I say that these spirits come to distract you from your purpose and from your promise, it's like the sickness itself is a distraction. It's keeping you in this constant cycle of being bedridden, not being productive, back and forth to the doctor. Your money is tied up in medical expenses, etc. You understand? And so that affects many areas of a person's life. And it keeps you distracted from your purpose in that you're so sick you don't have the energy or the ability to operate in your purpose. You no longer have the ability to heal by speaking because you're always sick, right? Um, so it comes to throw you off course. It comes to distract you from doing the thing that you were called to do because that thing is a threat to the enemy, whomever the enemy is to you. Okay. It also comes to distract you from your purpose. If you are caught up in this repetitive cycle of illness and dis-ease, you're not thinking about the blessings that are on the way. You're not thinking about what's out there for you because you're so focused on being sick all the time. This is the spirit of infirmity at work. Okay. I feel like the collective um, has been hit. There's been like the spirit of sickness, illness, the spirit of infirmity has been loosed amongst God's people. And so we may begin to see more and more people falling sick from mysterious things, or we may begin to see people catch something as simple as the cold, or, catch something like the flu, which we used to catch the flu when we were little, but we never really heard of the flu like doing irreparable damage, if that makes sense. Whereas now, we may hear about someone catching the flu and it affecting their heart and it turning into this chain of events that is just mysterious, not only for the patient, but also for the doctors. Okay. Mysterious illnesses, connective tissue diseases. And I'm not saying that all diseases and sicknesses are a result of the spirit of infirmity, but a lot of them are, especially when they are mysterious, when they are incurable, when the doctors do not understand them. Okay. It comes to distract you from your purpose and from your promise. All right. The key is one, being able to recognize tricks of the enemy. Okay. When you are dealing with certain energies slash spirits, it's important to know what you're dealing with. Okay. Because when you know specifically what you're dealing with, then you can specifically deal with that thing and you can deal with it from the root of it. Okay. I will tell you that for many of people, the spirit of infirmity was uh, came like started affecting their lives inadvertently from childhood, right? You know how sometimes you have kids who are always sick, kids who, are always out of daycare or always missing school because they always have a cold or whatever the reason. And you have like the older people in their life just kind of speaking this thing over this child. Oh, he's always sick. Oh, he always has a cold. This is why it is so important to be careful of what comes out of your mouth. There is power in the tongue. And a lot of times things are spoken over us inadvertently, unintentionally from childhood. Okay. Um, and it's like once these things take up root in our lives, they have to be dealt with at the root. Okay. The other thing is knowing where authority lies, understanding that you have power and authority. These spirits don't have power and authority over you. Okay. Um, you have power and authority. And so reclaiming that power and authority, taking authority over your body, over your mind, over the illness, okay? Because it's a spirit. All right. We're going to begin to see a lot more people again fall ill. And I'm not like putting that into the atmosphere. This is just what I have been seeing. Okay. We're going to start to see a lot more people begin to fall ill as the spirit has been loosed um, into the atmosphere amongst the people of God. Um, you're going to begin to see this. You know, some things are inevitable. Spiritual warfare is inevitable. Okay. Again, the key is being able to recognize tricks of the enemy, being able to recognize the enemy's tactics, being able to identify exactly what it is that you are working with, being able to identify exactly what it is that is operating in your life. And when you can specifically identify the energy or the spirit, then you can specifically and effectively and strategically pray and petition and do whatever else you may do um, to combat it, to overcome it. Okay. I hope this is making sense um, for someone. Okay. I hope it's making sense. So, yes, these things are very real. Yes, demonic influence and demonic spirits are very real. Yes, we have to identify it by name in order to deal with it. Because if you're not being specific about it, you could just be calling spirits out. But that particular spirit can hide because you ain't calling it by name. You got to call it by name. And it has to be dealt with. And if you are unable to deal, if you don't feel equipped to deal, then it's like find you someone with some spiritual ranking. And notice I didn't say title. Notice I said spiritual ranking. Pray and ask God to lead you and direct you to someone who can help to deliver you from this spirit, from this affliction. Okay? We got things to do. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm so about my purpose and I'm so about doing the thing that I've been called to do that I don't have time for anything to be in my way. I've lived life being distracted by a lot of things. The spirit of infirmity was one of those things. I've lived my life being distracted from my purpose and from my promise. For the longest time, my apologies, y'all. So for the longest time, I've lived life distracted because I was so caught up with what was going on outside of me that I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on within me. I wasn't focused on any goals or planning. I had no vision for my future. I was not being productive. It's like I was caught up in this repetitive loop or cycle of crap. That's what the enemy wants, because the enemy wants to see you stuck. And when you're so caught up that you're not focused on any of these things, you don't have vision for yourself, you don't have clarity, you don't have a plan, you don't have goals, you're not being productive, you're stuck, you become stagnant. That is what the enemy wants. The enemy wants to stop God's chosen, the anointed ones, God's people. The enemy wants to stop people from reaching their full potential. The enemy's biggest fear is you knowing just who you are and how powerful you are, and anything that can be done to keep you distracted from that will be done. And the spirit of infirmity is one of those tactics. So, I don't know who needed to hear this information. This has been on me. I received this download, I believe, on Sunday or Saturday or Sunday. And God woke me up this morning to record this message. And so here it is. I know it's not like formatted. It's not, y'all know how I do. I just hit record and I allow the Holy Spirit to speak through me. And so I pray that this message finds whoever needs it. I pray that whomever comes across it gets some clarity and understanding, overstanding from it. Until next time, guys, peace.